This is Benson, and he's pretty shy and I didn't want to force him to be on camera, so today, this is Benson, and this is Benson's treehouse. It costs about $9,000 to build, that's it. But that's perhaps the best $9,000 ever spent by Benson because it bought Benson a path to early retirement. By the end of this video, you'll get to know more of how Benson accidentally fell into a dream life and exactly how much it costs to build out a property just like this and how much it can really make you. And at the very end, I'm gonna give you some pro tips to take this whole thing to the next level and double, possibly even triple the income of a property just like this. So just like most of us out there, Benson struggled finding motivation working odd jobs and making ends meet working for other people. Benson was a super hard worker, but without a ton of education and experience, and being in a pretty small town, money wasn't exactly easy to come by. And just like many of us, he was looking for an easier way of making money without having to wreck his body like he had done working at the marina, causing 2 knee replacements before his 50th birthday. But certain wishes aren't as easy to make true than it is to dream them, especially when we live in this world of corporations and businesses who try to treat people like Benson as cogs in the system that's just meant to churn out numbers and get them results. Sound familiar? Well, I say screw these corporations who treat their employees as robots just to get a job done. And if you find yourself frustrated working so hard for someone else and have always wanted to learn more about real estate and unique properties, join me this Saturday, August 27th at 10 a.m. Pacific time, where I'll be hosting a 3-hour unique rental and land hacker workshop. I'll be going over my techniques, philosophies, and how I replace my day job with rentals, and we'll also be doing a live Q&A event, so bring your questions. It's literally $9 to register for the first 100 people, and just like any live event like this, seats are limited. Now, if you can't make it, registration is full, or you're watching this after the workshop, don't worry. You can always set up a time with me or someone on my team to learn more about our programs and see if any of them are a good fit for you. Links down below, or just go to my website for all the fun details, kaiandrew.com. Now, Benson made his first beautiful mistake by buying this property back in 2004 for less than $200,000. Literally on the river where you can fish for salmon off the bank, and in the summertime you can float, wade, or just hang out in the water. But it would take another 14 or so years before Benson accidentally fell into life-changing money. Or I guess you can call it life-changing income stream. Now, up until a few years ago, Benson decided to build a treehouse in his spare time, just as something fun to do and to have a place to relax overlooking the river. But what went from a side project quickly turned into a full-on investment as Benson learned of unique stays, specifically tree houses, and especially tree houses on the water were becoming a big trend on sites like Airbnb. And that brings us to today, an amazing tree house, perfectly sized for 2 people overlooking the river. The tree house is a typical cozy room with a space to sit, which is where I did some of my work later in the evening, a little fridge, microwave, and of course, a full-size bed. It's essentially an elevated dorm room. And even though it wasn't that hot when I was visiting, it's nice to see that there was an AC and there's power in the space too. So I was able to plug in my laptop, my camera equipment, and my phone. Now the place definitely has its design quirks, which revolve around, surprise, surprise, fishing and ships. Which I guess makes sense with being on the river and all. However, these are some design choices that are fun, but maybe a little bit too quirky for me. But that aside for now, alongside the treehouse, you actually have access to a fire pit, hammock, and a whole hangout area just underneath the actual treehouse itself. And perhaps my favorite thing of all of this is this lookout deck that's attached to the front of the treehouse that gives you access to some beautiful views of the river. Now, while I was filming, I actually got lost with the views and just kind of zoned out up here. It's really relaxing listening to the water and watching people as they float or hang out down below. Now, this wouldn't be my normal full analysis of a unique property without some of the drawbacks. And as cool as this place is, unfortunately, there are some things that I would have totally done differently. First, the treehouse is literally about 20 feet away from the manufactured home that's on the property. You're actually pulling up into somebody's driveway and there are kids' toys, dog dookie, and the owner's stuff all over the place. So privacy and separation is basically non-existent outside of the space itself. But I will say that Benson, his family, and dogs are very friendly and welcoming. It's just a bit much if you're wanting a quiet getaway. Second is the bathroom. Yes, the bathroom. which is literally inside the main home, and you have to walk through the living room where the family is watching TV, hanging out in the kitchen and the kids' bedroom to use a shared bathroom. Now, obviously I didn't film inside their home, but you really do have to walk through somebody's actual house to use the shower or the restroom or the middle of the night or, anything. Now, to be fair, it is advertised as a bedroom or a private bedroom, not actually a separate ADU or guest house or anything like that. So I understand, no false advertising or anything like that. But really, those were the only two major complaints that I had. And to be fair to Benson, I didn't read far enough into the listing, totally my fault, where it actually talked about the shared bathroom. But honestly, I wouldn't book this place again because of that and feeling like I'm living with somebody else in their space. Now stick around, in a little bit, I'm gonna give you some pro tips if you find yourself in this situation on how you can literally double to triple the nightly rate with a few changes. All right, let's break down the numbers here and see how much this place actually costs to build. So you know me, I always forget my tape measure, but lucky for me, I actually remembered it this time. Benson was pretty dang smart when he was building out the treehouse and designed it to have minimal cuts and waste, being mostly standard lumber lengths like 12 foot, 8 foot, and 4 feet dimensions. The total square footage comes out to be roughly 134 square feet with a roughly 50 square foot deck. Now, some other key things that I noticed about the treehouse is that it had a metal roof, or it has a metal roof, which is inexpensive, easy to install, and lasts a long time. Has standard board and batten and cedar shake siding, and 4 windows, and of course, 1 entry door. Now, the biggest hint on how much it costs is the fact that Benson told me that he built it a couple years back in 2017, 2018. And back then, I could build out homes for as low as $80 a square foot if I did all of the work, sometimes even less than that. I'd be shocked if it cost Benson more than that. But with 184 square feet, including the deck, at $80 a square foot, we're looking at $14,270. And looking at the materials and the construction method, I personally think that he got away with even $50 a square foot. There's really nothing super crazy about this build that makes it super complicated other than it's up and it's attached to trees. And there's no kitchen or bathroom, and that's honestly where most of the expenses really kind of come in. So I'd say low end is $9,000 and the higher end is $15,000, considering that he DIY'd it, he did it himself. And we know if you hire anything out, it'll always be about double to triple the price. So in that case, let's say $30,000 to $45,000 to build something just like this if you're to hire out everything. But no matter how you cut it, $9,000 or $45,000, this is still a great investment. But how Benson did it, it was an incredible investment for him and his family. So we have an estimated initial sunk investment for the place. Let's get into the juicy parts of how much this place actually makes. So I was going into my normal data collection sites and had found the property in the past. It's this guy right here. And usually what I can do is I can usually go into one of my sites and I can find it pretty easily, just indicated by these pins right here. Now, it's supposed to be right here. Take a look. Right here is where it's at. I've got the address, I've already pulled it up. I'm not gonna honestly share it with you guys here, but I've already have the address. I know where it is on the map. I've been there. It should be literally right here. It disappeared, but it's still active, it's still live, and I can't find it anywhere else. And I've already gone through every single listing in this area. So that kind of bites because normally that's how we find the information. Essentially what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to show and find the monthly income, but we don't have that now. And of course this happens while I'm trying to film for this video. Don't worry though, we'll just have to figure out another way. Fortunately, I had spoken to Benson to get some background on the property, and I know after looking at the calendar that the nightly rates is around $110 a night on average. And they have a very high occupancy rate, or I guess Benson has a really high occupancy rate. I mean, they have over 728 reviews, or 720 reviews. And most of these came in the last 2 years when I first came across this place. So I'd say the average occupancy rate is actually around 85%. Simple math tells us that's $2,805 in monthly revenues, or $33,660 in annual rental income. Now, I know you size queens and kings out there are going to say like, dude, that's not that much money. $33,000? Oh man, Yuck, what is that, like $17 an hour? How is that even setting a person up for early retirement, let alone a family? Check it out. We know that Benson bought this place for $200,000, or just under $200,000. Assume that he put 20% down at 6% interest rate back in 2004. You're looking at a mortgage of under $1,000, $959 to be exact. Now, including taxes, utilities, and insurance, Benson's probably hovering around $1,400 a month. Now let's tack on groceries, car, insurance, fuel, cell phone, and other miscellaneous stuff at like another $1,000 a month. His total cost is $2,400. He's averaging $2,800 a month in income. That's still leaving an extra $400 a month for perhaps helping out with health insurance or some other personal expenses. Meaning that the essentials of his life are basically paid for. That's a massive advantage at any age to have your basic living expenses taken care of. And if you watch some of my earlier videos, actually definitely don't watch them. This is very similar to how I got started and reached financial freedom in my early 20s. So what that means is if Benson needs or wants to make more money, he can cherry pick the jobs and gigs he wants to do because he doesn't need them to survive. And any money he makes is just icing on the cake for extra savings, retirement, or vacations, or whatever it is that he wants to spend money on. And if Benson is at all disciplined with his finances, he's probably pretty dang close to paying off this property, and then his monthly living expenses are gonna drop by another $1,000 a month, giving him way more cushion. Now, it's often that people, especially you younger folks in the younger generation, thinking that you need to make multiple six figures or even millions of dollars to set up your life correctly, but in reality, it's a lot less than you actually think. Ask yourself this: if you never had to worry about rent or mortgage, groceries, insurance, and utilities ever again, let's throw transportation in there too, how much do you think you really need to make a month? Run the numbers. I bet you'd be surprised if you're somewhat reasonable and not pricing out like a $20 million beach home and like a brand new Lamborghini or something. I know how some of you think. So Benson's got a pretty good situation going on here on the river and his close enough passive income treehouse. But like I said at the beginning, there are a couple things that he could change to really make this a banger listing and double to even triple his income. First, I turn this into much more of a private retreat for couples rather than just having to share a lot of space with dogs, kids, and walking through somebody else's home and backyard. I'd add an exterior bathroom on the side of the house, relatively inexpensive, probably less than $5,000 to build a 70 square foot bathroom. That's pretty nice. 10 to 15,000 if you decide to hire it out. This takes away the awkwardness of the current bathroom situation, and honestly, average rental rate would jump from $110 to $150 a night off this alone. Second, I'd carve out and separate the backyard with fencing and vegetation to make this place feel completely secluded, with a more intimate fire pit and outdoor lounge area. Nobody is going to bring 10 plus guests to stay here. There's no need for all this mismatch of chairs. Get rid of the kids and the dog toys along with the ruined front lawn where the dog is using the bathroom. This honestly was a huge turnoff, having to walk through this to get to the treehouse and almost stepping on some dog dookie. This would be a very inexpensive upgrade, perhaps $3,000 to $4,000 and maybe a few weekends of hard work. Having this truly private and separate from the main house, you can easily bump this place up to the $185 to even $200 a night range. That's a very reasonable price range for a well-built treehouse just like this. Third, I'd change the fisherman ship theme and go something more trendy or attractive to women. Remember, most of our customers who book and select listings are women. Just changing the decor and style for a few $1,000s and honestly a better mattress, the old spring mattress, just isn't winning any fans. But unique sells, but kitschy and campy will end up hurting you in the long run, which we'll see here in a second why. And when in doubt, go with the high-end resort look. But that's the style I'd redesign the space for, and this could easily go as high as $300 plus a night. And then fourth, the very last thing is I'd start charging a minimal cleaning rate. Right now, Benson is not charging any kind of cleaning rate, which I'm assuming is to keep his occupancy rates high. It's also because Benson does all his own cleaning and doesn't need to actually hire a cleaner who would probably charge between $60 to $80 per flip clean. Now, knowing Benson's customers and the number of bookings he's getting, the average booking is roughly one night. So even if he charged $25 for a cleaning fee, that's almost a 25% increase in current income. And honestly, most guests won't even bat an eye at that. Now, I've had the privilege of living relatively close to this listing and have had my eye on it for a few years now. I think 2 years to be exact. Over that time, I've watched the nightly rates go down. And if I do remember correctly, the nightly rate started around $200 a night and now it hovers around $100. between 90, I think 95 to 125 or 135 is the highest I saw. Now, some of that has to do with newer competition coming into the area, but that's not the real issue. It's because most people value privacy and design much greater than just the uniqueness of a place like a treehouse. Now, people honestly want to pay for a retreat from their normal lives. It's essentially what a vacation and what Airbnb is designed to be. You just can't get that when you're in someone's backyard and sharing so much space with a complete stranger. So I know if Benson were to invest another $15,000 to maybe $20,000 into this property, he'd easily double his income from about $34,000 a year to $65,000 to $70,000. And he may even be able to hit six figures with the right design and targeting the right customer. He really has a lot going for him, being on the river with such an amazing view and just doing such a great job constructing the treehouse. And if he were to do all of my suggestions, that's a 200-400% return on his investment year over year. That's real life-changing money. Don't forget to register and join me Saturday, August 27th for the 3-hour workshop and Q&A event. We always end up having a blast and attendees always walk away learning something new and getting their questions answered. It's literally $9 to register, or if you break it down, it's like $3 an hour. Seriously, probably the best real estate investment you can make dollar for dollar. Just go to my website or link down below to register. And if you can't make it or watching this after the fact, just set up a time to chat with either me or someone on my team about our land hacker programs to see if and what is a good fit for you. Now, go check out how my previous clients are land hacking 56.5 acres and working towards making $50,000 a month.